Hello.
Hi, Meg.
Hello.
Hello. And
Hello,
welcome
viewers.
Hi.
to Tabletop Turntable, the show where we're spinning stories by rotating through different tabletop role-playing systems, players, and game masters, one track at a time. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. My name is James Downey, and I will be your host through track 1, which I'm describing as an experiment in collaborative world building. The overture to track 1, our first 2 episodes, will be spent playing The Quiet Year, a 2013 game developed by Avery Alder. We'll then spend 8 episodes playing a brief Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign with a bit of a twist. Rather than everything springing simply from my mind, I'll be having the 5 lovely people you also see on screen to fill in details about the world's history, lore, and overall vibe. We're building a realm from... Yes, it's because I hate thinking of things myself. No, it's because we're trying an experiment. We're building a realm from scratch and we're doing it together. So before we do that, let's meet our players. Let's start looking on your screen. Let's start with Michael. Why don't you introduce yourself and then tell us, would you rather be reincarnated as a cat or a dog?
Well, hi, I'm Michael Ray Williams. And to answer that question, I'm curious what everybody's immediate impulse is, but I would go cat, even though I personally like dogs a little bit more. I'd go cat because you just can't beat the climbing ability, man. Plus, the reaction time is just crazy fast. So, pragmatically, I would go cat.
All right. Moving down the line, Meg, tell us who you are and what is your go-to karaoke anthem?
That would have been
I thought we were all
a
gonna
better
get
one
the
for
same
Michael.
question.
I don't know that I have one. I'm Margaret Alice. They call me Meg, so you can too. I mean, you honestly can't beat "You Oughta Know" by Alanis Morissette. Who doesn't want to like scream that song at the top of their lungs in front of a bunch of people?
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I scream it when someone else is singing it too.
I scream it sometimes too.
It's true, and then the more people in the audience are scream singing, the less they're actually listening to you.
There you go.
That's a win-win.
Excellent. All right,
Love it.
Katie, who are you? And then you can tell us, what is the best superpower?
I'm Katie
Ooh.
Bolaños, and the best superpower is controlling the weather.
John,
Why?
who are you? And
You didn't ask
What?
why.
what emoji best describes how you are feeling right now?
Well, I am Sean Lucier. Nice to see y'all. I am feeling the most like the Peruvian flag.
Okay, perfect. Why exactly, if I may ask?
I don't know.
Okay.
It felt right to say that.
You know, here's the important thing is I don't know is always a valid answer.
Yeah.
Sam, tell us who
Hi.
you are. And what
I
movie
broke
do
my
you
toe.
wish you could watch again for the first time?
I'm sorry, James. What was the first part of your question? I was laughing at Sean.
All right. First of
Valid.
all, who are you? And what movie do you wish you could watch again for the first time?
That's a great question, James. I'm so glad you asked. Hi, I'm Sam Hawkins. And I would say I wish I could rewatch the first Saw film for the first time.
Nice.
It's a great film.
Solid.
Nothing.
Oh, wait,
beats
what
that
movie?
Final moment, right?
Solid.
The first Saw film.
Solid.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we've met our players, so let's talk about what it is we're going to be playing. So The Quiet Year is, in the words of its creator, Avery Alder, a map drawing game. Our players will be playing as a recently gathered group of people who have come together to form a community. They won't be playing as individual members of that community, but rather the community writ large, a group of approximately 60 to 80 people. Play with The Quiet Year begins by players deciding among themselves a type of geographic terrain where the community will exist. The players will then each take a turn adding one type of terrain feature around the community. If we were playing the game at home, we'd probably have a large piece of paper, like a poster board, that players would take turns drawing on. Unfortunately, we're not playing at one home. We're all at each other's homes individually. So we are going to have Michael drawing a map for us. Michael, do you want to say a little bit about the map program? Yeah, I know you talked about it last week on Level Up, our Wednesday program. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're using to draw the map there?
Thank you, James. So this is a program called Wonder Draft. This is in no way an endorsement or anything like that. This is just a program that doing my research. I absolutely abhor the subscription model when it comes to specifically like software and things like that. I like one-time purchases, especially when they're community driven and have like support. And this program does. Wonder Draft is pretty great. You can download all kinds of symbols and asset packs, and it's got, if you have a basic understanding of things like MS Paint, just the very minimal kind of digital drawing, you could probably get some good mileage out of this map. It's ideal for world maps. And I did use it this last week on Level Up. I'll be using it again next week on Level Up, working on the world map for our next big campaign. So, yeah.
All right. So I had our players choose the terrain and the geographic features ahead of time just so we could have our map started and ready to go. As we go, we're going to be adding on to that map, drawing new things. But I did give the players a prompt to sort of set the stage for the world that we're going to be playing in. So let me give that to you all now. Magic has always been there. For a long time, it was in the background. People saw it in a sunset or the changing of the seasons. People always believed in the magic of snow-capped mountains, the way lightning split a tree in twain, the way mixing flour, yeast, sugar, and salt can make a delicious loaf of bread. But centuries ago, people began doing more than seeing it. They began wielding it. Some studied the world around them and learned to harness the magic that they saw in the world. Others were born with it, preternaturally gifted with the ability to manipulate the world around them. The particularly devout called upon their gods and found themselves blessed with divine gifts. For good or ill, the age of miracles was upon us. This sudden influx of magicians created a rift in society, a new and rather sudden caste system of those with magic and those without. Less savory characters would make deals with supernatural entities to try and bridge that gap, some more successfully than others. But even in a world of magic, coin still ruled. For what was magic if not a commodity that could be bought and sold? And so it was. Commodified, commercialized, and cheapened. Charlatans and snake oil salesmen peddling counterfeit goods and services multiplied rapidly. But what's more, a class of heroes and villains seeking ever more glory or power made those without feel increasingly put upon. But as with all things, the age is ending. New clockwork contraptions have sprung up throughout the land. Powered by steam, coal, and even magical means, these technological innovations have largely eliminated the gap between those with sorcerous prowess and the more mundane hoi polloi. Yet, magical artifacts still exist and people still seek them out as sources of great power. Some yet still seek that power to control the destiny of the world and keep sorcery supreme. So, with that prompt in mind, what did you all decide on as your geographic location where our world is going to take place, where we're going to have this 5th edition campaign that we're going to play?
In an underground cave system.
Very fun. So let's talk about each of the geographic features that you came up with. Let's start with Sean. What did you decide needed to be as part of this underground community?
Well, I decided on a forest of some kind, but because it is underground, it doesn't necessarily get the same level of sunlight, so there are different odd colors to it. Greens, not some greens, but very light purples, blues, things like that. But no one is 100% certain that what is actually deeper into the forest. Most people are kind of just utilizing the wood that is closest to the outside, but of underground forest.
All right. Katie, what did you decide?
That there are veins and clusters of glowing crystals throughout this cavern system, some making natural skylights, some just as large outgrowths in different colors.
Right. Sam.
Yeah, I decided there is a geyser up under here that erupts whenever the nearby mountains start having their storms going on.
Okay, well that leads me naturally then to Michael, since I know which feature Yo chose. What did you
Uh,
have?
the area outside on the surface outside the cave system is covered in all of these craggy high mountain peaks that are made out of a material that helps generate really powerful storms.
Right, and Meg, what was your geographic feature?
There's also a lake.
Perfect. The next thing that the players need to do is choose a resource. So, did we all? I believe everybody chose resources ahead of time as well. But if not, I'm going to put you all on the spot, and we'll start with Michael. Tell me, what resource did you choose?
I did not join in that part of the conversation.
All right, so here you go. Pick a
So yeah,
resource that's available
uh,
to the community.
we are underground. I like that idea. Stuff being occluded from the sunlight. I think a resource is fungi, mushrooms.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to add some representation of these resources to the map as we go, that would be great.
Yep, I will throw
Um,
some on there.
right. Let's go with Sam. Tell me a resource.
Yeah, I was also not present for that conversation, so we're going to decide right now that underground there's probably lots of rock, but not a lot of stuff to start fires with. So we'll say firewood.
Okay.
Wait, that it is a resource?
It's a scarce
Sure.
one.
Doesn't
Yeah.
have to be in abundance. It's just a resource that's
Yeah.
important to the community.
Yeah.
Because it would be
Oh.
important for us to figure out a way to get some.
Meg.
Well, because I suggested the lake, I went with water. And it's a more abundant resource for us, which could be useful in trading for wood and or slash power, hydropower.
All right. Sean.
Stone.
Okay. And last but not least, Katie.
Tourism, people coming to see the geyser, see the giant crystals, see this strange forest.
All right. So I need you all now to pick one of those resources that you think is in abundance. The rest will be scarce.
Water can be in abundance. It's fine.
Yeah, I was saying water or stone.
Yeah.
Stone
I-
would be
one
of
another
those
one
two.
that makes sense.
I would like flip
Yeah.
a coin, really.
Yes.
You just got to be careful with mining the stone that you don't like make the caves fall down around you.
Right.
You're living down there.
So
You
I
need
wonder
True.
if water should maybe be the one in abundance, because that might be kind of fun to play with the idea that the stone is hard to get.
and that structural integrity is not necessarily super stable if we start trying to drill away at it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that works
And so
for me.
something to bear in mind as we're going through the games is that some of these resources may become abundant. Some of them may become scarce. We may determine that there are new resources. We may lose some of the resources completely based on what's going to happen. So let's talk about how the game proceeds. So each player's turn during the quiet year is a week in the year. And it's represented by the 52 cards in a deck of cards. Each suit represents a different season. Hearts are spring, diamonds are summer, autumn is clubs, and spades are winter. Once we have arrived in winter, we're waiting to see when the King of Spades gets drawn. Under the terms of the game, the King of Spades represents the coming of the Frost Shepherds. And they end the game. The Frost Shepherds are not literal. The players don't know what those Frost Shepherds are or what they're intending to do, but I do. And they'll find out at some point when we get there. During each week, a player will draw a card and answer the questions that are on the card or take the actions that are on the card. There's usually a choice of two. Then the player can take an action. They can discover something new in the community. They can start a project, or they can hold a discussion. Discovering something new is just that, Players can determine themselves whether that's something good or something bad. I mean, if everything's going well for the community, the players can anytime introduce some sort of negative consequence or some challenge for the community to overcome. Obviously, anytime a group of people come together to form something, not everything's going to go perfectly every time. So if anytime there's smooth sailing, somebody can influence the community in such a way as to pose new challenges. Starting a project is having the community engage in some new task or development. The players will then determine how long that task should take, from 1 to 6 weeks. We'll keep track of those projects with a 6-sided die. We'll wind it down every week. Once the project has completed, the player who started the project will tell us what the result of that was. Lastly, holding a discussion is where the community can take the temperature of everyone on the issues that the community is currently facing. Every person can say 1 to 2 sentences on the topic, and that's it. The person who starts the discussion can either begin with a statement or a question. If they begin with a statement, that's it. That's all they have to say. If they begin with a question they'd like to pose to the community, they'll get the last word. Discussions don't actually mean anything happens. They're just an effort to air whatever's going on with the community, bring concerns or grievances out. Just like in a real community, discussions are messy and rarely productive, but they at least let us know what's happening with everyone. Lastly, if at any time a player feels like they're not being listened to or they're being disrespected as a member of the community, they can determine that they've been aggrieved, and they would take what we call a contempt token. Contempt tokens are really just the resentments. They're representative lingering resentments among the community. They're not going to be necessarily affecting how we play, but at the end of the game, we can make a determination about how swimmingly things are going for everybody. If we have a lot of contempt, maybe the community is starting to fall apart. If everything is good and nobody has taken any contempt tokens, this community might be pretty harmonious. As we go along, we're going to learn more about this community. We're going to build this world that we're going to be playing a Dungeons & Dragons campaign in. The spring is going to tell us a lot about what's around us and what kind of world we're living in. The summer is going to start posing more challenges. Autumn will pose even greater challenges, and winter will be about preparing for the times to come. So the plan for this evening is for us to get through spring and summer, and then next time in 2 weeks when we come back to do fall and winter, we'll wrap up the quiet year at that point, talk about where we're going with our Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign, and then our 3rd episode will start that campaign. So, players, do you guys have any questions?
I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
Well, ask them now. This is the only spot we're allowed to ask questions, I think.
Oh, God.
Right.
I'm also sure you will.
This is it. Never again. If you ask any more questions, I'm kicking you. No. All right.
Seems
So,
Good
Push
luck
over.
reaching me from all the way over there.
Each question will result in a new plague upon thy village.
No.
Give
All
it
right.
60 seconds, and there's like 12 plagues. Right.
if you take a look at our YouTube layout, we've got Michael first, but Michael's going to be drawing our map, so I'm going to have Michael go as our last turn so he can keep drawing the map as we go. So let's start with Meg. Meg, are you ready to begin?
Yes, what am I?
Drawing a card.
You have to do anything yet. I got to draw a card.
Right.
I just wanted to get confirmation that you specifically were ready to begin. Okay. Your first card is the 2 of Hearts. Well, this one is suiting for you. Here are the 2 prompts for you. There's a large body of water on the map. Where is it? What does it look like? Or there's a giant man-made structure on the map. Where is it, and why is it abandoned?
There is a temple nearby that's not underground. It's outside the cave system. And it is abandoned because the particular area the storms are so bad, it's not always safe to be outside. which is why the community built underground.
Okay. Follow-up question for you. Who is the temple, or not necessarily a name, but what is the temple dedicated to? Is it, if it's dedicated to a god, who would it be dedicated to? Like what kind of god?
I'm guessing a god of some kind of god of storms. That's where people would have gone before they moved underground to pray for the weather to hold out for crops and stuff like that, for the winds not to be too bad, that sort of thing. But it's long since, like you said, abandoned on account of all that praying didn't do any good. The storm still destroyed everything.
All right. So, all right, now that you've answered that question, do you want to discover something new, start a project, or hold a discussion?
I'd like to discover something new, please.
All right. And what do you want to discover?
No, I don't know. That's right. I get to decide. You decide. You tell me what I discovered.
Nope, that's not how the game is played. The work's all on you all tonight, not me. I'm just taking notes.
Let's see. A bioluminescent species of aqua animal, could be like a crustacean or frogs or something. I don't know. You guys can help me out with that detail. But they're bioluminescent and they have recently appeared in the lake.
Okay. Tell you what, why don't you can sit on that and think about it, and maybe when we come back to you, we can talk about what that animal is.
Let's just go with frogs, because nobody wants to help the girl out.
No, I like that.
Okay.
Frogs are a great choice.
Let's move on to Katie. Your card is the 10 of Hearts. There's another community somewhere on the map. Where are they? What sets them apart from you? Or what belief or practice helps to unify your community?
All right. So there's another community on the map. And these people have figured out how to live in the mountains. There are a lot of storms, but these people have figured out how to channel that lightning to make the mountains safe for them. And being mountainous, it kind of makes sense. They're almost they're like beast folks. You get there's tabaxi living out there. There's bearkin, I don't know, wolfkin, like all those, like any kind of creature you can imagine living in the mountains. There is a folk for that that have all figured out the lightning thing.
All right, how have they harnessed the lightning?
They have built, similar to how this community has built into the walls of the caves. This community has built into the mountains themselves. Just hewing paths with their stone tools and massive lightning rods that they use to kind of collect the lightning where they want it and steer it away from where they don't want it.
Okay. Do you want to discover something new, start a project, or hold a discussion?
I would like to discover something new, please.
All right.
So someone is following one of the streams that either, I guess, is leading into the lake. They follow this stream into the cave system and wind up discovering a waterfall.
Like away from the lake?
Yeah, so it can go. It can go either through the forest if you like, or it can go kind of on the outskirts. Doesn't matter to me. But just into the caves, into the walls there. So following a pathway to a waterfall. That's why it's taken a while to find it, because it's perhaps like, I don't know, a half mile into the caves away from the community.
Okay. Does that waterfall like spill deeper into the underground, or we're gonna change my colors real quick. There we go. That's fun.
Yeah, I'd
Um,
say it spills deeper into the underground.
okay. So is there like a pool at the bottom of the waterfall, or can we not
That's
see?
the
Is it too deep to
guess.
see?
Yeah, so we find this waterfall, it's too deep to see, and there's not yet a path leading down to where the pool is.
All right. All right. Sean,
Yes, sir.
the Ace of Hearts.
Hmm.
What group has the highest status in the community? What must people do to gain inclusion in this group? Or are there distinct family units in the community? If so, what family structures are common?
Hmm. I think, gosh, the first one just feels like you've explained that already. Just through the world building a little bit.
Well, maybe, but also think about
Maybe.
this community. How does it fit into the
Yeah.
world writ large?
It's true, yeah. I'm gonna make a little bit of an assumption here. A little bit. No, I don't want to make that assumption. I would say that that this community does have its share of both magic users and non-magic users, but I would say that perhaps this community goes by a system rather than trying to stick to the regular or the assumed caste system that is outside of this place. I wonder if this group has tried to separate themselves from that and has tried to make a representative government to run this community to improve the life of everyone who is here. Obviously, actually, I'm not going to say that. No, I think that's what it is. It is a representative government where it's a what is it? They vote. Oh, what is that called? The one that I like a lot.
Ranked choice?
Ranked voting. Yeah, it's a ranked voting
choice
system.
voting.
Yes, ranked
Okay.
choice voting. Yes.
All right. So who has the highest social status then?
I would say the people with the highest social status are going to be this council that they elect. It's a council of 5 members, and they are the ones that hold that power for the community.
And so I'm reading the tea leaves here. To become a member of that group, you
Yep.
need to get elected.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of hobnobbing, very much like the Fallout TV series, that election. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So do you want to discover something, start a project, or hold a discussion?
I never do this when I play this game, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna hold a discussion,
Okay.
and so I basically ask a question, and then I'm
You
able to
can
have the
either-
last. Okay.
Yeah, you can either ask a question and you get the last word, or you can
Okay.
make a statement and get the first word.
Okay. Kind of bar talk, I guess. How does everyone in the community feel about the way leadership is structured and decided upon?
All right. Let's just go down the line. Sam, why don't you answer that first?
I think that it runs for elected officials to exist. It runs the risk of like tampering with an election, or it is not necessarily the most honest way for people to come into power.
The election is rigged. Great.
Sure.
Rigged.
Michael.
This question is, how does everybody feel? How does the community feel about it?
Mm-hmm.
Considering that this community is in an underground environment, that it probably takes some real labor to survive, let alone thrive in. I think that there is probably a really strong working class, really strong work ethic. That probably get a little jaded with the idea that the leadership is automatically put into some sort of hierarchical, better than us position by default.
All right, Meg.
I think there's also a small faction of magic users who, not to say that they're the only magic users in the community, but there's a small faction of magic users who are resentful. Yes, a lobby, if you will, are resentful of not being entitled to the highest spots naturally just for using magic.
All right, Katie.
As a non-magic user, I really appreciate seeing people like me being represented and who I can trust to I represent my voice and how I feel about how things are going. It's a lot better down here than it is up there, I'll tell you what.
All right, then Sean, you get the last word.
I'll tell you what.
As long as I can make a buck, I'm fine.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, I'm going to ask you a follow-up question about this, Sean. The
Sure,
seats
please.
on the council, are they all sort of at-large seats, or are they divided up in some way amongst members of the community?
That's not a bad choice. I think that this is a brand new area, and instead of it being I think that they are still in the figuring it out stage. Sorry, the figuring it out stage is, they're not in the finding out stage. They're in the effing around stage at the moment. So I think it is more just a flat community vote,
Okay.
rather than
So-
breaking it up into sections of the community, since it is a smaller community.
So basically top 5 people by ranked choice vote?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How often, you know what? Save that. We can talk about that later. All right. Let's move on to, oh no, my thing has changed now that we got the map bigger.
Oh, my bad.
It's fine. Sam, you're next, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. Because I'm last.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Sorry.
Sam. No, you're fine. The Queen of Hearts is your card. What's the most beautiful thing in this area? Or what's the most hideous thing in this area?
Ooh. Okay, well, I'm going to go with one of Katie's resources, and I'm going to say the most beautiful thing is the skylight that is right at the start of the cave entrance, that is all of this crystal glass, and it's a depiction of the storms that happen in the mountains.
All
As they
right.
figured out how to do stained glass style crystal
Stained crystal.
windows. Yeah, 100%.
I'm gonna have to think on how to incorporate that.
I'm sorry,
into the map.
Michael. I'm so sorry. As
I'm
soon
gonna-
as I said it, I was like, Michael's never going to be able to draw that.
That's gonna take some thinking. I'm gonna think about it. Don't you worry.
I love it.
Just like a crystal with a lightning bolt in it, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Something
Yeah,
like
basically.
that nature. Okay. So this was formed by the members of the community. It wasn't naturally forming.
Yeah, no, it was definitely man-made.
Okay. Why? Who decided to do that?
I feel like it was made as kind of like a housewarming gift to the start of the development of the community. Once everything got kind of carved out and somewhat livable, they're like, well, it's a bunch of gray rock and a bunch of gray walls, so let's put something nice down here. And so that's what they did.
So was there like an individual artist that had facility with the crystals to work with?
I imagine it probably took a lot of people coming together because they probably weren't super familiar with working with these crystals, I guess.
Okay.
Probably like a few like stone workers or like jewelers or something.
All right. Do you want to discover something new, start a project, or hold a discussion?
I would like to start a project.
Okay. What would you like to do?
So these frogs that were discovered, the bioluminescent frogs, I would like to start a project and do some research on what their food source is.
Okay. So now it's up to everybody to sort of decide how long we think that project is going to take.
I'm
6 weeks.
also, I'm also choosing just a generic symbol to represent when in the general vicinity that a project is taking place, and when the project is done, I will put a different symbol on the map. That makes sense?
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. So what did we say about the length of the project?
I just default to research in general. Always takes a fuck long.
So I would say for the purposes of the game, compress that, right? Because a project could be something wild like building a dam in the lake, which would probably take much longer than 6 weeks, but we only
Gotcha.
have a range of 1 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
We got to remember there's magic in this world. So, and if there were magic in the real world, projects would not take as long.
Right.
That's true, but I think research
would
would
not
still take a long time.
I don't know. You just freeze time for a minute, and then it doesn't really matter how long it takes, does it?
All right. Well, sure. Yes. I mean, if everyone's good with 6 weeks, does anybody have any sort of counter to say to that?
Meg also said 4 weeks.
I'd lean to 4 personally.
Let's go 4.
4 weeks.
Overruled.
We're like, let's
Yeah.
get stuff done.
And Katie takes a contempt token. All right.
All y'all.
4
Just earned our rating. You're welcome.
Got my 6-sided die. We're setting that to 4. All right.
There's the. Sorry. Ignore me.
You're fine. Well, I'm not going to ignore you because it's actually your turn, Michael. So, your card is the 4 of Hearts. 4 of Hearts. What important and basic tools does the community lack? Or, where are you storing your food? Why is this a risky place to store it?
We are storing our food in underground, like root cellars, essentially, because in being in this cave system, the ground here retains a lot of that cold water that comes in from the underground springs that feed this lake. So we store it in the ground, but it's risky because there is a species of tunneling giant tunneling camel crickets that will get into the stores.
Ugh. I don't like it.
I hate camel crickets.
I know, that's why I picked them, and most people
Whatever
don't
you
like
said-
them. It's like a
Whatever you
standard.
said. I'm sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's like a standard thing. Most people don't like camel crickets.
Yeah, they're not great.
I was going to ask how you said giant camel crickets. So, like, how big are they?
Like camel crickets as big as Maine
Camels?
Coon cats.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
No,
Like a
like camel
cat?
crickets is as big as cats.
No.
Okay. So like a bread loaf size
Yeah.
cricket.
You know what the
Great.
best part about a camel cricket is they just jump with reckless abandon. They've absolutely
Kamikaze.
no control over where they're going.
Why they're
They,
terrifying.
they could be jumping into the lizard's mouth for all they know. It's just, I imagine that the big versions are just as clumsy too.
I want to
Not
thank
really
you
a threat, just irritating.
right away making it so I have to create a homebrew monster. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Question about that though. What kind of food is actually being stored?
Lots of like root vegetables that grow, tubers, and things of that nature. While the mushrooms when we can accumulate enough of a harvest. I think the mushrooms are probably fairly large, and we probably dry them and do like some kind of jerky, treat it similar to like a venison jerky. Yeah, but other like dry goods as well.
What about the camel crickets? Are they edible?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, not if you're a bit on the squeamish side, but I'll get right in there on one.
Okay. All
It's
right.
basically just a big jumping snow crab.
Do you want to start a project, discover something new, or hold a discussion?
I want to start a project.
All right. What do you want to do?
We're gonna get a restaurant going serving camel crickets.
Good.
Nice.
Okay. And how many weeks do you think it's going to take to make a camel cricket restaurant?
2
2 weeks?
Everybody?
2 weeks.
Everybody on board with that?
Wow.
Fine.
You're
Sure.
gonna open a restaurant in 2 weeks? Good
I
luck.
don't know. It seems more like a food truck than a restaurant.
Right?
That's actually what I was thinking. It's actually
can't-
it's gonna be like a food caravan.
Y'all can't
Just
talk about
small.
shrinking research and then throw
the-
a fit when he says only 2 weeks for a restaurant.
Right. The camel
I
cricket.
didn't throw a fit, but
The
it
crun-
also is a complicated process.
the-
He's got to get licenses
the-
and like.
So is research.
The crunchy
Right,
camel
and we gave you
cricket
4 weeks.
caravan.
Look, underground
camel-
bureaucracy is tough.
Camel cricket crunch caravan.
Michael's been watching too much Delicious in Dungeon.
All
I
right.
love that show. It's
So
so
we'll-
good.
We'll set your timer at 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We're also gonna
Thank
you
we're gonna
too.
move we're gonna move the research project down 1, so that's now at 3 weeks. All right. All right. So now that everybody's taking a turn, there is one topic I'd like to return to and visit with everybody, and that is, why is this community here? This isn't really part of the quiet year, but I think it's important for us to sort of get an understanding of why this group came together and built a place underground, of all places, to have a community. So, I mean,
On account
Just-
of the storms
are the storms everywhere, or are they just in these mountains?
in these mountains.
Well,
Okay.
Sean also kind of answered this question. Sorry, Meg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of elaborate on it, I guess.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off Meg.
I'm just putting forth the answer that I had given too for them being specifically underground. Is that
Yeah.
this region, the storms are particularly bad, so the safest place.
Are the storms relatively new?
I don't think so, because it's gonna take like a couple generations for new communities to settle, right, and for people to
Yeah.
move elsewhere. So I think it was a generation or 2 back that the big mountain community kind of split into the beast folk in the mountains who can survive on the surface and everybody else who can't.
Okay.
Maybe
So,
they got
but it's-
worse over
Yeah.
time.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. It's not that they haven't been there forever, or they haven't been this intense. Is
Right.
that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there also people that are newer to the community that, like I was saying, like kind of escaping the injustices of
Persecution.
the persecution and everything that is on the upper side of the planet, and they find this place to be more hospitable to whatever they would like to do. They feel like it is a more, it could be I'm a little not skeptical, but I'm a little hesitant to use the word, like this could become a utopian society, but maybe that like makes it even a little bit more dangerous and exciting.
it's at least a more
Okay, nice.
egalitarian one?
I'm not sure.
The burp, burp, that noise. Oh,
No, it's like a
Like a boop. Yeah, I heard it too.
I can't hear
Um,
it.
Would you suggest then, Sean, that the goal is at least for it to be more egalitarian, right? Like there's no caste system here. Magic users, non-magic
Yes.
users are on the same footing. That's the
There's none of
intention,
that.
at least. Whether or
that's
not
the
that's
intention. Yeah.
practically how things work out is a
Yeah.
question I guess we'll figure out later.
Mhm.
All right, so let's go back to the top and go back to Meg, and your card is the 5 of Hearts. There is a disquieting legend about this place. What is it? Or alarming weather patterns destroy something. How and what?
Less.
There's an easy one, and there's a less easy one.
I mean, am I allowed to take the easy one? My brain hurts.
You
You're
can do whatever
absolutely
you
allowed to
want.
take the easy one.
It's your
Yeah, of
choice.
course. Do whatever you want.
Well, that's what happened. That in a couple of decades back, the storms started getting more frequent and more intense, and high winds did a lot of damage to property, as well as lightning strikes and fires.
I can put some ruins on the surface.
Well, the temple is one of them.
Yeah, I can put some ruins near the temple, like some city ruins,
Cool.
Okay.
or a village at least.
Do people still go out to the surface to visit these ruins in any way?
I would say there's always going to be that one, right? There's always going to be that guy. I would say it's probably frowned upon, and some of the like more less open-minded of the community would probably be big proponents of keeping everything in house whenever possible. But eventually you're going to have to, vault swap and stuff on account of the incest. So there are people who get wanderlust and leave and come back, that sort of thing as well. And there are some who will make the trek, who still hang on to the old beliefs, who will make the trek to the temple. But generally speaking, they keep a really close eye on the weather, and they're overall more afraid to be on the surface than they are wanting to be on the surface.
Okay. All right, we're going to turn our project timers down 1. So we've got 2 weeks left on the frog food, 1 week left on the camel cricket caravan. Meg, do you want to start your own project, discover something new, or hold a discussion?
I would like to start a project to map the storm patterns to see if we can get any sort of idea or better prediction system to make it easier to visit the surface when we want to. And there will be a faction of people who are staunchly opposed to this project.
Okay. And how many weeks is that going to take?
I think because of the backlash, I was thinking 6, because there will be people trying really hard to make it difficult to happen. Plus, we need as much data as possible in order to see a pattern.
Okay. Just make a note there.
It's failing.
All right. So that will take us back then to Katie, whose card is the 9 of Hearts. A charismatic young girl convinces many to help her with an elaborate scheme. What is it? Who joins her endeavors? Start a project to reflect. Or a charismatic young girl tries to tempt many into sinful or dangerous activity. Why does she do this? And how does the community respond?
So this charismatic young girl, her name is Felicia, and she convinces several people to go with her to sneak into the mountains and spy on the beast folk community and try and figure out how they are able to channel the lightning the way that they are. So maybe they can also harness this energy.
Okay, so is that you're starting a project then? I'm guessing that's not sinful behavior.
Right, yeah, that's the first option.
Okay. How long is that project going to take?
Spying and studying. Let's give it 3 weeks.
Okay. All right, we'll move our other timers down. So we have 1 week left on frog food. We have finished the camel cricket caravan, and we're down to 5 weeks on our other project of weather prediction. Michael, Tell us what kind of delicious meals we'll be eating. I hope we have camel cricket croquettes.
Oh yeah, naturally. We're gonna really lean into that alliteration. You can do the camel cricket croquettes. They're an excellent aperitif. I am fond of the camel cricket crock. It is a camel cricket stew that you actually drink the broth through one of the hollowed out legs. Quite
Hi.
a fun sensory experience.
We just lost 2 viewers, by the way.
And then
Sorry, guys.
and then the classic, the standard camel cricket kebabs.
Yes.
Very, very good as well. That's where we're gonna start for now.
There is a delay. We only just got to the straw, by the way.
You don't have to turn this campaign into the one you're running. I'm just well, with the mushrooms and the insects.
I made a choice.
Hey,
Strong choice.
Not wrong.
We're in a
I love
cave.
it.
We're in a cave, man.
All right. Is this a successful restaurant? Is this something that people love to go to?
I fucking think so.
Okay, people.
I'm excited about it.
I bet the tourists love it.
Does this
Yeah.
solve our
Uh-huh.
food stores problem? Or is our
Oh.
food safer now?
I would
Yeah, we're
think
hunting
it
more
would
of the
be-
crickets.
Since we're eating the crickets,
Well, better question. Does this create a resource?
I think it
I
creates.
mean, I think so. Yeah.
that-
All right.
We
so
have
How
we're
dare you
protein.
suggest your question is better than mine? How dare you?
We have protein, baby.
It's
Protein.
DM prerogative. Sorry. So we'll add camel crickets as a resource. Do we want to say that they're abundant?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on then. Katie, did you want to start another project, discover something new, or hold a
I can
discussion?
do 2 projects on my turn. Amazing.
The first project
Because of
was
the
part of
card,
the
yeah.
card that you drew, so I don't see why you wouldn't be able to start another one.
Fun. Okay. Sorry, I was still writing notes and also interacting in the chat instead of doing my job. Yeah, I would like to start a project to try and either find or create a path that leads to the bottom of the waterfall.
All right, and what do we think that's going to take?
Let's make that 3 weeks.
Okay. All right, moving on. I believe, Sean, you are next.
Okay.
And you are going to get the 6 of hearts.
Okay.
Are there children in the community? If there are, what is their role in the community? Or, how old are the eldest members of the community? What unique needs do they have?
I think there are children in the community. Because every community needs children.
But
I
not
think
old people. Screw them.
no. I mean, it's a hard life to get down here. So I think that the
Food for the mushrooms.
yes, exactly. Which feed the camel crickets, so we're eating old people. So I mean, aren't
Logan's
we?
Run or Soylent Green? Which one?
Soylent Run.
Soylent Run. Well, if you eat too many camel crickets, you do get the Soylent Run.
I set him up and you knocked him down, Sean. That is exactly what I expected to happen.
We just lost our other viewers.
Yes, and it only took us an hour to do a poop joke. Okay,
Yes,
so
and-
And now I'm gonna
Yes,
watch Drop Dead
and-
Gorgeous after this.
exactly.
Green is
Oh my
people.
god, I love it.
All right.
Sorry, what's my thing? Oh, children.
Children
Yes.
are in the community, yes.
So I think
The kids.
children. I think that the children. They have set up kind of a very small like schoolhouse here, and I think that their children are taught how survival skills, but also basic like needs for living in a community, and then basic academic things like basic math, maybe talking about the history of the world, sciences. Maybe they are helping with some of this research and learning from it. So, children are doing that. They also are allowed, like, outside of school time to, work for their parents' businesses or, like, help out around the community. Encouraged to do that. They don't all do that, but I think they're expected to be working members of the community when they are not in school.
All right. How long do children go to school? When? At what age are they no longer school appropriate?
I think that because it's such a small community, and they're trying to keep them kind of similarly placed, it's kind of a to put a real world pin in it, like kind of like kindergarten to 5th grade, and then they're able to start either doing some sort of apprenticeship with someone else in the community or their parents, depending on what their skill set is. So they begin to learn to become a full member of the community at about 12.
Got it. All right, let's turn our project timers down. So Sam, we've determined the food source, or at least we've finished our project of researching into the food source for the bioluminescent frogs. So tell me about what that looks like.
Yeah, so it turns out that these bioluminescent frogs, they can feed on the little bit of algae that grows across the top of the lake, but their favorite thing is camel cricket larvae.
Okay. What did the community get out of figuring that out?
Well, that's a excellent question. I'm so glad you asked that.
There it is.
The joy of knowledge.
I was waiting for it.
They found out that
Knowledge
these
is
frogs, because they get decently sized for frogs. They found out they're not like, they're after mostly insects and plants and not things like, people or anything. So that's a bonus.
Okay, good to know. I'm glad that my microphone did not just pick up my desk lamp falling over, so that's good.
Had no clue.
We're in a great place. Yeah, well, a little behind the scenes look for everybody and what's going on for me. All right.
Theater.
Yeah, so that project winds down. Let's do our other ones. Are going to go down one as well. And back to you, Sean. Do you want to start a project, discover something new, or hold a discussion?
I think I am going to start a project. And I believe the project that we are going to start is to begin learning how we can I think, oh gosh, this is a tough one actually. I'm gonna go with, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It is going to be a work on being able to utilize the stone around us better. So it's kind of how can we do this in a way that is safer, removing stone and taking that and being able to reinforce the area around us better. So just trying to figure out how we can safely remove the stone and thinking about that later down the line.
Okay. And how many
Structural
weeks?
integrity.
Yes. Sorry?
How many weeks?
I think at least 5.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Kind of just letting the person that designs the project make that determination.
Okay. I mean, I just think that, like, when it comes to, like, that structural integrity, we have to move very slowly to
sure.
make sure
Yeah.
nobody gets injured. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
okay.
All
5
right.
weeks then.
Sam,
Mhm.
King of Hearts, I have another excellent question for you.
Oh, I'm so
A
glad.
young boy starts digging in the ground and discovers something unexpected. What is it? Or an old man confesses to past crimes and atrocities. What has he done?
Yeah, so this young boy out behind the makeshift schoolhouse of sorts is real bored and starts digging in the ground and finds a like a broken key that someone identifies as once having belonged to the temple.
Sorry, it's a broken key. Key.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. What is who takes the key? Who keeps the key?
We'll say whoever runs the school, because I assume they probably have some sort of historical knowledge of this temple and what it's doing here.
Okay. All right. Let's wind our projects down 1 week. Still not completing any this week. But do you want to start a project, discover something new, or hold a discussion?
I'll discover something new.
All right. What are you discovering?
So there are some reports from different people that during some of the storms, like at different phases, like whenever one is brewing versus like the peak of them, certain ones of these crystals, some of the different colors like flare more than others, but the reports on what colors happen when are varied.
Hmm. Okay. Michael,
Yes.
the Eight of Hearts. An old piece of machinery is discovered, broken but perhaps repairable. What is it? What would it be useful for? Or, an old piece of machinery is discovered, cursed and dangerous. How does the community destroy it?
The second one, cursed and dangerous for sure. And it is some kind of old mining tech that at first the community would think, that they could use to their advantage, but turned out to be cursed. And they destroyed it by shoving it into the lake.
Oh boy.
That's a strong choice. That's a
I'm
strong
sorry, what did
choice.
you say the cursed
I love it.
items?
A piece of mining equipment. We'll call it a digger.
All right, so what made them discover that it was cursed? What about it was that they discovered this is not
A string of very unfortunate accidents and dreams. There would be anybody who tried to use the machine would start having these dreams, and after 3 nights of these bad dreams, they would die.
Hey, you guys are giving me so much golden stuff to work with. You have no idea. All right, let's move our
I
project.
might have some idea.
No. Trust me. It's gonna be great.
I'm excited.
I hope it's gonna be great. All right, so project's moving down 1. So that means that we have discovered, or at least finished our project to get a path to the bottom of the waterfall.
Yes.
We've also finished spying on the beast folk.
Knew I didn't blow
So,
the 4 weeks and I should have done that.
yep. Well, Katie, take it away.
Hey. Okay. So let's start with the research at the Beast Folk community. About halfway through the project, the Beast Folk discovered that Felicia and her crew were spying on them. They were not pleased at first, but upon learning what they wanted, the Beast Folk decided to strike a deal with them that they would help our community learn about how to harness the lightning in return for something else. They are interested in the crystals in the caves.
Okay, so did Crystal sort of not Crystal, sorry,
Felicia.
make a deal on behalf of the community without sort of running it by all of them?
Hmm, I think she would have been in a tough spot. She was caught spying, needed to save her hide, and yeah, made this deal without consulting the community because of the dire straits she found herself in. She, I think there's not a whole lot of interaction between these two communities right now, probably based on some prejudices. She was a little bit scared of the fearsome looking beast folk.
Okay. We'll probably return to that at some point then, because there's two, I think, interesting points there about what are they going to do with harnessing the lightning, and they've agreed. Felicia agreed on behalf of everybody else to give up a resource that's not abundant for them. Okay. So tell me about the waterfall then.
Gosh, I hope someone else is writing that down because I'm not going to remember any of that. Thank you. So path to the waterfall. Let's see. So it could go one of two ways. They were trying to either find a path or create one. They started by trying. They kind of split into two teams. Some trying to like create this path, and some trying to find find a route. The people creating the path managed to do so a little bit quicker, but it is steep. It's a little bit perilous. Basically just carving stairs into the side of the waterfall, so it gets kind of slippery. To try and to ameliorate that problem, they've added in like ropes that lead down, so you can hold on to the rope while you're trying to go down the stairs. But this path is not for the faint of heart. It took a little bit longer for people to find a walking path. So it's long, kind of winding, about 1.5 miles from the community to the bottom of the waterfall, but it is a much nicer route. It is scenic. There is cool stalactite and stalagmite features, glowing crystals along the way, and a very easy traverse.
All right. So the big question is, what did they find down there?
Oh, yes. So down there, they found it comes into a wide underground river. It's about, how wide are rivers? It's about, at the foot of the waterfall, we'll say it's like 100 feet across. Is that huge? I don't know what space is. Yeah, it's roughly 100 feet across at the foot of the waterfall. But as it winds off into the caves, so they can't quite follow it, this little pathway just leads like literally right to a stony shoreline right next to the river. It does go like right down to the water, so you could theoretically get into the water right by the foot, right kind of near the foot of the waterfall, and then it like continues on tapering into the rest of the cave systems.
Okay. Michael, do you want to discover something new, start a project, or hold a discussion?
I want to hold a discussion.
Okay.
I'm curious how the community feels about the decision to dispose of the cursed object in the lake.
All right. Meg, let's start with you.
If you ask me, we didn't get it far enough away.
Okay. Katie.
I don't know. I think we probably should have done a little bit more research on the object before we decided what to do with it. Curses are weird things. Do we know if it was really cursed or if it was a placebo effect? There's some like magic users around here. It seems to me like maybe they should have spent some time studying that before we put it in our main water source.
All right. Sean, I can talk.
What makes you think that putting this thing into a lake that creates mist isn't just going to poison the lake?
And Sam.
It stands to reason that some of these cave systems down here were probably made with this digger, so it bears to reason that potentially some of those are cursed as well from contact with it.
Last word, Michael.
I am specifically curious about its effects on the native wildlife. There's a pressing concern among some of the community over whether or not it will have an effect on the bioluminescent frogs.
All right. For those of you that are not counting cards, we have 3 cards left in spring, and then we'll take a bathroom break. So let's try and whip through the rest of spring, and then we'll go to break. All
Whip it
right.
out.
So back to Meg. You have gotten the Jack of Hearts. You see a good omen. What is it? Or see a bad omen. What is it?
The mist off the lake has taken on a sort of greenish hue. A lot of people who are of the camp of thinking that the lake is now cursed because the digger is submerged in it take this as a bad omen, that they are correct.
Okay. Has anyone had does the green mist cause any issues for anyone, or does it appear to be at first blush harmless?
At first blush, you would not really be able to tell, so it depends on your belief system as to whether it appears harmless or not.
Well, I mean, like if somebody touched the green mist as it comes off the lake, does it have any effect?
Not that we've currently been able to track.
Okay. All right, let's move our counters down 1. And do you want to discover something new, start a project, or hold a discussion?
I would love to merge my project with Sam's project. If I have gotten far enough that I think we have been able to determine that there's a certain aura that appears before the biggest of the storms, and we now want to join forces with the other research team to see whether the auras correspond to the crystal behavior.
Okay, so that wasn't so Sam didn't really just start a project, but you're saying you want to refocus your project to make a determination as to if the lightning strikes are what exact effect they're having on the crystals.
Yes, and I imagine this will add some time to the
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's not rules as written, but we can do that. Sure.
Thanks.
How
I
many
like
weeks?
to think outside the box sometimes.
Yes, and
I like to think the box doesn't exist. Sure.
What are boxes?
I don't know. How many weeks do you want to add onto that?
3 more.
All right, so that's going to set it back up to 6. It was down to 3. It is now at 6. I think that's right. Let me make sure. Going through my notes.
Well, that'll put it into summer, and summer storms are a different beast entirely from spring storms.
Nope, I'm sorry. It's going to put it to 4.
Okay.
Sean's was at 3. Yours was at 1. You had 1 week left. Okay. All right. So let me make a note there. Alter Storm project to examine crystals. All right, Katie. The 7 of Hearts. Where does everyone sleep? Who is unhappy with this arrangement and why? Or what natural predators roam this area? Are you safe?
Oh, nice. All right. I was actually hoping I'd get this question again. The natural predators that roam this area. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so there are large worms that live underground. Most of all of the tunnels seem to have been most of the tunnels seem to have been carved by like water, and just like weathering forces. So they're kind of like erratic. You get the stalagmites, stalactites, etc. But there are a few tunnels around, further away from this large cavern, that are enormous and perfectly round. We're gonna say that they are 10 feet in diameter. Um, and these predators are rarely seen. Um, Generally, people can hear like the tremors of them coming, and these things are shy of the noise and like the sounds that the community makes. So it kind of keeps those creatures away from the center of the community. But people who are out exploring the caves need to be aware of listening for the worms and if they're coming, and just to be aware so they don't get eaten by giant stone worms.
So would you say that people are relatively safe then from the worms?
Yeah, I'd say they're relatively safe from the worms, as long as they remember to bring their worm bells with them, so that they can make noise when they're exploring. Then yeah.
I'd make a Burt Gummer reference, but I feel like that'd be lost on most everyone.
I love that movie.
Thank you, Michael. Okay. Then our projects will move down one. Ba-doop. And do you want to start a project, discover something new, or hold a discussion?
Yeah, I would like to hold a discussion. Can I give context and then ask a question?
Sure. Well, no. No, it's okay. So we try to keep it very simple. You either can make a statement or you can ask a question of the community.
Okay. Well, because like, okay. Yeah, we'll just hold a discussion. Because we didn't discuss the fallout of the Felicia making a decision without consulting everyone. So I want to know. So when Felicia comes back from her dealings with the beast folk, I want to know how people feel about her. How do people feel about Felicia promising access to the crystals to these beast folk in return for learning about their lightning powers, their lightning harnessing capabilities?
John, go.
Sorry, I'm holding it together right now. I'm sorry. Could we not have discussed this a bit more? This was very rash of you, and just another thing that we have is now taken from us again. And weren't we trying to escape this by coming down here?
Sam, go.
My only real concern is what they know about these crystals that we don't, that they're valuing them so much.
Michael, go.
The Trades and Crafts Union is actually really excited at the prospect of being able to harness that lightning. We think that it will be great for expanding our community down here.
Meg, go.
That small faction of people who would rather just stay put are obviously real mad and don't think that she should have the authority to do something like that.
And last word, Katie.
Overall, she shouldn't have done it the way that she did, but it sounds like it could be of benefit to our community.
All right. Bye, Felicia.
I knew it was going to happen.
Oh my God, that setup.
I mean, yeah, the setup. It's pretty. You'd probably be in trouble if you didn't do it.
That was the long game, dude.
I had to wait.
I named her.
Good job.
On the
Well done.
last card of spring, the Three of Hearts. Someone new arrives. Who? Or two of the community's younger members get into a fight. What provoked them?
Someone new arrives. It is a... Let me think. What am I trying to say here? The Beast Folk have decided to send a representative to our community to ensure that the dealings with our community are in good faith and in good and are carried through. So think of this as a they have sent an ambassador for the Beast Folk to our community, and they have requested room and board to live within our community.
What kind of beast folk is it?
You know what? Hold on. They have sent a Loxodon.
Okay. For those of us that aren't necessarily immediately familiar with a Loxodon, elaborate, please.
This is a elephant man, not
Got
in
it.
the sense of the movie.
Right. Thank you.
Go touch grass, nerd.
I think a Loxodon ambassador is just perfect.
Last
Currently-
question about
Yes.
him. Is he pretty?
Or her.
Is he like a pretty friendly ambassador? Like, was he well chosen for this task, or is he pretty
I'm gonna say yes.
implacable?
No, I think that this is. I think that there is a. As far as we can tell, this is a very kind individual and is open to working with our community.
Okay.
As far as we can tell, James.
As far as we can tell. Let's move
Yes.
our timers down one, and then lastly, do you want to discover something new, start a project, or hold a discussion?
I'm gonna start a project, and some of the I will say some of our craftsmen, typically like metal craft and things like that, craftsmen, and a few of the like magic users have gotten together and are interested in harnessing the energy of the geyser that is outside of our walls to begin using it for steam power in order to heat water or things like that. Not since we're low on like firewood, since the wood in our forest is different than other wood, they would like to start trying to find a way to harness that steam and the heat in order to heat our community and create hot water and things like that.
Okay, so like harnessing geothermal energy in a way.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many weeks?
That to me, that's a 6-week one because
Okay.
scary as hell.
All right. So that takes us to the end of spring. Summer is approaching. Whispers ripple through the community. Travelers from surface side that have come for tourism purposes spread rumors that towns throughout the world are falling. and nobody seems to know exactly why. They're sort of just disappearing off the map without a trace. I mean, there's the ruins of the town, but the people are gone. And with that, we'll take our break.
Awesome.
Don't go
See you
anywhere.
all
We'll
in
be right back.
see you in about 10 minutes. It was that big?
It was that big.
All right, well, okay.
Hello.
That's
Hi, everybody.
That's enough cave cricket talk for now. All right. Welcome back, everyone. As we used to say in another world, we hope you had a pleasant bathroom break. And we still hope you did. So it was that big.
I don't.
All right. So
No.
we were last with
Pardon.
Sean, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yes.
Let me check my own notes instead
I
of
think
asking
I had
you
just
guys.
gone. Yeah, I had just
Yeah.
gone.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So Sam, that means it's your turn.
Yes.
To start summer.
I love that.
There we go. Do you love that for you?
I love that for me. I love that for all of
Okay.
us.
Just for everybody watching, because we got a little bit of a late start tonight due to some tech issues that we're working through, we're going to get about halfway through summer before we call it a night. We should have plenty of time next time to get through the rest of summer as well as fall and winter, because we won't be going through all of that necessary introduction, so you haven't any idea what we're doing. So let's start with summer. Our first card is the Six of Diamonds. Sam, outsiders arrive in the area. Why are they a threat? How are they vulnerable? Or outsiders arrive in the area. How many? How are they greeted?
Yeah, so the outsiders that arrive are a little party that was sent to follow up our Loxodon friend. They decided that sending him by himself was probably not a smart idea, just in cases. And so they sent a lizard folk and a tabaxi along with him, like the week after or so. And I feel like at this point, the community is kind of expecting, potentially begrudgingly so, to get some beast folk ambassadors, considering how this deal was made. So they're not exactly just tickled to see them or anything, but they're expecting them. They're not hostile or anything.
Okay. So here's an interesting question.
Okay.
So the people coming in, the outsiders are beast folk. What kind of peoples make up the community? Like, if you don't,
Oh, our
you don't have to name all of them, but sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
our community?
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of peoples make up our community?
I would say they're probably mostly humanoid. Like, I assume probably a lot of dwarves and probably some humans. Probably, I mean, like mostly humanoids, not so many beast folk. There might be like a stray, like a stray tabaxi or something, but it's largely humanoid.
Okay. All right, let's move our timers down one. So we're at 1 on that one. Sean, your stone research has completed.
Okay.
Tell us about researching the stone.
Well, they were able to figure out a way to remove the stone while creating strong enough support systems, utilizing not so much like wood or anything like that, but the steel workers in the town were able to create like some fairly strong steel beams that are able to hold these up. We've also in working with, and tell me if this is reaching too far, but in working with the new lizard folk community that is now starting to be shaped into our midst. This is what
Beast folk
pushed it.
community.
Or the beast folk. Why did I say? Oh, because there is a lizard folk with them. But
There's
beast
one.
folk, yes.
A single one.
Folk community.
This
They
one.
are
He reproduces
actually,
asexually.
yes, the Luxodon, whatever his name ends up being, the Luxodon is able to, with the approval of the two new members of the community as well, is able to share with us the the mining tools of the beast folk. So we're actually able to utilize that now to help us to continue to build our community. It's kind of a sign of good faith, as it was kind of picked up upon that they're not exactly. No one's really happy to see them here, but they're understanding of the situation.
Okay, so like the tools that they use to carve out their own community amongst the mountains. So really, you
Yes.
sort of also not only has the stone research taken place to help sort
Yes.
of reinforce, but we've increased our own technological capacity.
Yes.
Okay, Sam, do you want to start a project, discover something new, or hold a discussion?
I'm gonna discover something new.
All right.
So this cave cricket restaurant has a couple of kids that work, in the back doing odd things or whatever. So they send a kid out toward the lake to start harvesting some cave crickets. And a couple days later, the kid gets really, really sick, like inexplicably sick.
Okay, so is the thing we've discovered is some sort of new disease?
Assumedly from how much time he spent around the lake and the mist that comes off of it.
Got it. Okay,
At least that's what they think anyway.
understood. There was a question I was going to ask, but I don't remember what it was, so we'll move on.
Oh, I have a
Michael.
question. Can I ask it?
Hmm.
No? Okay, sorry.
You can ask it if you want to hold a discussion on your next turn.
Okay.
There you go.
This is more a
Alright.
question for you as the DM.
All right, go ahead. What's up?
As a result of Sean's project, I was going to ask about stone as a resource.
Right, that's exactly what I was going to get at. So
Thank you.
I
Katie.
thought it might be.
Perfect. Do we want to say that stone is now abundant, or is it actually scarce because we've been using it so much, or has it not changed?
I think now that we can mine it, I think that it's more in abundance personally.
Okay.
We can
What
remove
things-
it more easily, so.
Things are going swimmingly for this community. Can't wait to see what happens with that. Michael, number 9 of diamonds. A project fails. Which one? Why? Or something goes foul and supplies are ruined. Add a new scarcity. As a reminder, your projects are research into the lightning, attempting to harness the energy with the geyser. And your resources that you currently have listed are fungi, firewood, water, which is abundant, stone, which is abundant, tourism, and camel crickets, which are abundant.
I'm thinking just because there's this need in me for conflict.
Yes.
I can't
Do it.
really name it. But I think that the geothermal project is gonna
Yep.
go awry.
Knew it. I knew it.
We're doing
Yes.
really well with that stone. It's gotta be,
No. I wanted you to do that so bad.
All right, so why does it fail?
I think that they underestimated the amount of pressure that builds up. They do not currently have the materials to withstand it. Essentially, they keep building these generators, similar because they're familiar with like water wheel technology. But there's just too much pressure, and it just ends up ripping their generators apart.
Cannot begin to describe how happy this decision makes me.
Good.
All right.
I'm here for you, boo.
So that project fails, but our storm research project is done. Meg, tell me about the storm research.
So in combination with the crystal studying, is it okay for me to give that full answer? Should Sam and I
Yeah.
both answer? Okay.
Well, again, I don't not to say anything negative, but Sam's wasn't really a project. It was a discovery of something new.
Yeah, it was a discovery.
Yeah, so
Oh.
it's your project almost
Cool.
entirely.
Okay, so we have discovered that there are particular patterns and colors of auras that precede the storms that give us a clue as to how intense they will be. And I will have all of those details for you next time.
Yeah, that's fine. That's something we can talk about. We don't need to go into all that detail right now. All right, Michael, do you want to discover something new, start a project, or hold a discussion?
I want to discover something new.
Okay.
There is a new species. They have discovered a new species of glowworms that live up in the stalactites.
Okay. Anything that would make anything that would make the glowworms an abundance, or are they, or I mean, not an abundance, but a resource, or are they happen to be there?
I think that there is some speculation that they could possibly be used as light sources if you gather enough of them.
Okay.
Or perhaps a means of being able to light your way while tunnel exploring without having to have a torch or some other conveyance.
All right, but that's probably going to require some further.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. Potentially. There's the potentials there.
All right,
Man, them worms glow bright.
That takes us back to Meg. Meg, we have drawn the 2 of diamonds. Someone new arrives.
Go ahead.
I got nothing. Someone new arrives. Who? Why are they in distress? Or someone leaves the community. Who? And what are they looking for?
Samson, the son of a prominent member of the governing body, has decided that he wants to go look for adventure and fortune beyond the caves, and much to his parents' dismay and argument, has left to go find
it. Tell us about Samson. What do we know about him?
He's a human with tousled brown hair. His dad was hoping he would go into governing like him.
That's good.
Yeah.
We don't need to go any deeper. All right. We have no projects currently going on. Do you want to discover something new, start a project, or hold a discussion?
Samson's dad is going to hold a formal town hall discussion about putting together a search party to go and bring back his son.
Okay, so I guess, is that your statement then on it?
Yes.
Okay.
He has invited the public to contribute to this town hall regarding sending a search party after his son.
Katie, go.
If he wants to leave, let him.
Sean, go.
No.
Sam, go.
If he doesn't want to be a part of it, you can't make him do something he doesn't want to do.
Michael, go.
Well, it's a resource expenditure that I'm just not comfortable with.
All right.
That's what I meant.
You're such good NPCs.
All right. That's
No.
I'm just gonna bring an entirely new cast to play Dungeons and Dragons, and I'll bring you guys back to be the NPCs. There we go.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
Dibs on Felicia.
Perfect. All right. Katie, the king of diamonds. Summer is fleeting. We're going to discard the top 2 cards off the top of the deck, and you can, so they will not be drawn. I don't know what they are. And you can take 2 actions.
Oh,
I love that card.
Ooh.
how fun! Wow, and I even had like 2 projects. That's so exciting. I was trying to decide which to do.
You can do
Before
both.
I had a clarifying question again. Sorry. Can I ask it?
Yep.
Sam
It's a
mentioned
loser
earlier that it's made of humanoids. I just wanted to clarify because Beastfolk are also humanoids. Do you mean like just the base player races from like the PHP?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Dwarves and elves and
No,
humans.
Halflings.
Halflings.
Yeah.
The
Got it.
pretty folk, as it were.
Got it. Thank
I mean,
you.
adjacent.
Mood skins.
Okay, so 2 projects. Project number 1. I would like to try to get the cursed machinery out of the water. Seems to be causing problems. So step 1, remove the machinery. Step 2, try to clean up the water source. I think, and then figure out what else to do with the machinery. So it's a 3-step process of this project. So we're gonna make it 6 weeks.
Okay.
And then what was my other project? I thought of it and I wanted it so bad. Oh, I remember. We're gonna do research into those glowworms to see how useful they are as a light source. So maybe we can light that tunnel, that pathway leading to the waterfall. Maybe increase our tourism here.
All right. How many weeks?
Call that 4 weeks.
Okay. What is that noise?
It's
I
the
don't.
auto. I know what it is now. It's the autosave feature on the map program. I saw it last time.
Oh,
What?
Minecraft?
Yep.
Wow.
I didn't even know it made noises.
It
That's
makes
fun.
that noise.
Okay, I can fix that. Well, cool. I thought it was something like I was completely in the dark. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh.
Boom.
Something new
Done.
every day.
After Katie is Sean. I think what we'll probably do, since we pulled those 2 cards off the top of the deck, who started with
I started summer.
this? I think we'll do this. Will be our last turn for summer, and then we'll call it, or for tonight, and we'll call it a night, and come back in 2 weeks. All right, Sean.
All right.
3 diamonds.
All right.
Summer is a time for production and tending to the earth, or the ground, the cave underneath the earth. Start a project related to food production, or summer is a time for conquest and the gathering of might. Start a project related to military readiness and conquest.
Oh gosh. Oh, this is all incredibly tempting. I think we're good on food. Okay, let's make Underground Proud Boys. Okay, so
Boy.
No.
let's
Wow, Sean.
that's a joke. That's a joke. No, but seriously, I think
It's a joke, not really.
the stories of what is happening to communities above ground where things are just disappearing. People are just disappearing and things like that. I think a contingency of, let's say, magic users start training as a like town, and again, like definitely not Proud Boy-esque, but like as a town guard / militia force, through the and I think through the approval of the council, and I think that the training of this group can probably take maybe 4 weeks to get this off the ground. About a month.
Well, no, wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're not on project time yet.
Oh, I thought it said. Oh no, I'm sorry. I mixed up the two. The project for the food. No. So that's on me.
I guess I'm
mixed
sorry.
up
You're
the
right.
two.
It is start a project related to military readiness. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh,
Yes.
it is.
So,
Okay.
Yes.
Then
How many
4
weeks did you say that
weeks.
was?
4 weeks
4
to
weeks?
create this this trained military. So
Okay.
yeah.
Do they allow in non-magic users, or are they only magic users?
I think they let other people in because they see the fact that the community could be under attack and any resource is valuable in that situation. But they do it begrudgingly. There is a tension there
Well, now
between
and
magic users and non-magic users.
is this a force for defense or for conquest?
I think that there are people who believe that it is defense, and I think there are some people who want to use it for conquest.
Okay. Good to know. All right, our project timers sans that one will go down 1. And do you want to start another project, discover something new, or hold a discussion?
I would like to... Oh, jeez. I want to discover something new, but I'm trying to figure out exactly what that is. I will discover something new.
Okay.
And it is going to be... It's going to be outside. So south of our little like cutout hole here, kind of right angled, yeah, right where you're pointing, right there, where you were, down a little further, to the left a little, kind of like a right angle type deal from the Beast Village to our village. I think the Beast folk find a ransacked campsite under the outskirts of a small like forest / grove, and amongst the materials left, there's nothing. There's no bodies found or anything like that, but there is a torn apart, like, makeshift tent, and Samson's amulet that his father gave him for his 18th birthday.
He's only 17, but fine.
Okay, 17th birthday.
In the above ground, an above ground forest.
It's an above ground forest, yes.
Oh, gross.
Oh, you had to make it all sad.
Hey, we gotta have people come back because they want to know what happened to Samson.
Conflict.
Okay. All right. So I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Next time, we'll be back in 2 weeks on May 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to finish playing through summer, and then we'll get through fall and winter, finish our Quiet Year game, which is going to set the stage for our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign. If you liked what you saw here, you liked what you saw tonight, you enjoyed yourself, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on demand later, feel free to leave us a comment and do hit the bell for notifications for when we upload new videos. On Wednesdays, we have Level Up, which is hosted by Michael, talking about being a game master, running tabletop role-playing systems. He gets into all sorts of different things. Last week, he drew the map that we were using tonight, drew the baseline map, went through that. It's a good time. Come hang out there. If you want to drop us a line, you can email us at grimstonegaminggroup@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media. We're at Grimstone Gaming on Facebook and TikTok, and at grimstone.gaming on Instagram. If you liked The Quiet Year, you can find it over at Avery Alder's website. That's buriedwithoutceremony.com. Please check that out. He's done a lot of good things. Quiet Year's great.
Yeah, Quiet Year's awesome.
It's so good.
We did try to play some music tonight. If that came through, that music is from Harris Heller of Streambeats. You can find his work over on Spotify and at streambeats.com. I want to thank.
Hopefully, be able to hear more of it next week when I figure.
Yeah,
out
we're gonna get through all those tech issues. So, for Katie, Meg, Michael, Sean, and Sam, we've been pleased to meet you. You don't have to guess my name. It's James Downey. And we do hope that you keep spinning stories. Thank you all, and have a great night.
Good night.
Stop
Bye.
playing, y'all.
Never stop playing.
Oh, I should end the stream.
You should. You're in charge. You're the one.